Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Sydney from PhoneDoc.com, here to do a review for you guys of the Pantech Pocket from AT&T. It's one of their new Android smartphones, and it has kind of this odd design. It's a squarish device, but Pantech says they use this design in order to improve the media experience. So things like web browsing, reading ebooks, watching movies, playing games. Those things are supposed to be more enjoyable because of this display that has a 4:3 aspect ratio. So, the question is, did their plan actually work? Is it more enjoyable when doing those things? Well, I'm going to answer that question in the full review, and then I'll talk about the phone, its performance, the display, camera, different things like that. Before we get on to the full review, I have to say special thanks to my friends at Best Buy Mobile. We thank them all the time because they send us the phones that we add to our One Paw Bandit game, which is the game where you guys can win free phones. One of the great things about Best Buy Mobile is that when you buy a phone from them, you don't have to worry about rebates. The price on the tag is the price you pay. It's that simple. So thank you, Best Buy Mobile, for being so awesome. Thank you guys for watching this video. It's a review of the Pantech Pocket from AT&T. I'm Sydney from PhoneDoc.com. Let's go check it out. All right, so let's get started with the Pantech Pocket from AT&T. It's one of their new mid-range Android devices. And as you can see, it has kind of an interesting design. It doesn't look like most other smartphones on the market. And Pantech says that this unique design is made or was used in order to improve the experience when viewing media, such as watching movies or reading ebooks, web browsing, different things like that. They use this interesting design to improve that experience. So throughout the review, we're going to talk about how it helps with that, or if it helps with that. But, just in terms of specs and hardware, even though it's a mid-range device, it has a pretty good spec sheet. So on the front here, we have a 4-inch display. And again, it's kind of a squarish design, so it has an aspect ratio of 4:3. It has a resolution of 600 by 800, so a pretty decent resolution. If we take a close look at some of this text here, if you look closely, you might notice some roughness around the edges, but you'd have to look pretty closely in order to notice that. But for the most part, text has been smooth, graphics look good. You can see the wallpaper on the back here, it's colorful, the colors show up well. Overall, I've been very pleased with the display. Now, powering the device, we have a 1 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon S2 processor. And it's a single-core processor, which is to be expected, but still performance has been pretty good. Along with the 1 GHz processor, you have 512 megabytes of RAM, and you can see, just scrolling quickly through the home screens, little to no lag. I can open up the app drawer, slide through. Performance has been great. Throughout the review, as I demo the phone, you're gonna get a good look at how the phone performs overall. We'll take a look at some tests so I can give you guys an idea of the numbers and how the processor performs in certain quadrant tests or benchmark tests. So here's a quadrant standard app. We'll wait for it to complete the test, and then we'll take a look at the scores. So you can see the test results here. We have a score of 1,194, so a decent score. It's kind of low on the list. Keep in mind we have a lot of other devices that have come out that will score even higher than this, but there's a score on the quadrant standard test, and then we'll go over to another test, and here we have 33.1 inflops at a time of 5.09 seconds. So those are just a quick numbers to give you an idea of the performance. But overall, I've been very pleased with the device. I've been able to perform most tasks with little to no lag. Now, this is an Android device, and it ships with Android 2.3, also known as Gingerbread, but you can see that Pantech has made a lot of customization, so it's going to look a lot different from other Android devices, and very different from a stock Android experience. So we'll go over some of these customizations. I really enjoy Pantech's UI because to me it seems it's perfect for someone who is new to Android, or maybe doesn't know the ins and outs of the OS and everything that you can do to customize it. So one of the nice things is that the device comes with several custom widgets made by Pantech. Now obviously you can download a lot of these widgets from the Android market, but it's nice to just have these right on the device, so you don't have to worry about searching for them. You can just get it out of the box and then add some widgets to your home screen. And the widgets have several options, or several style options for each widget. So you can see here's a clock, but we have 15 different options in terms of size, design, style, different things like that. Same thing for all of these widgets. Calendar, contacts, email, event notification, memo. All of these have, several different designs that you can choose from. So that's definitely a nice feature. Here's one of the widgets that I've added. It's a clock, also shows the weather, and then once you sync your Google account, it'll show you any calendar events. Here we have a notification widget, which shows me missed calls, messages, and emails. So it comes with some very useful and helpful widgets. Along with that, in the notification bar, we have a new look for one thing, but you also have some toggle buttons for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, alarm, and then turning the sound on or off. Your notifications will also show up here in this area. And then along with the dock at the bottom, which has also been customized for call, messages, web, and then the app drawer. The app drawer also is a little bit different, so it scrolls left to right instead of up and down like stock Android does. Now, one note on this dock at the bottom here, you can't customize that. So it's calls, messages, web, and the app drawer. By default, you can't change that. Now let's talk about this display. It's an interesting display. It has a 4:3 aspect ratio, so it's different. And like I said, this is meant to improve your experience whenever viewing media, watching movies, reading books. And honestly, it does help a lot. For example, if we take a look at this ESPN app, which will show me scores as well as news, and just having that widescreen display, it fools you into thinking that the display is larger than it really is. Granted, 4 inches is a pretty, good size display, but just the widescreen format just makes it just improves the experience in terms of, reading or viewing multimedia. So if we scroll over here, and then if we compare that to, another display with, a normal aspect ratio, and if we open the same, and we'll go to news. Again, you can just see, for one thing, it's larger, it's wider, the text is of course going to be larger. You just have a lot more real estate on the display whenever you're reading text, or if there's graphics. It makes the experience a lot better. And trust me, whenever I first got the device, I was very skeptical. I looked at it and I was like, wow, this looks kind of weird. It's funny looking, but really it does improve the experience. Also, if we go over to the web browser, and I don't know why I did that, we'll load up phonedog.com. We'll talk about the keyboard in just a minute, but we'll load up phonedog.com. You'll notice that in the web browser, pinch to zoom is pretty smooth, and this is with flash content loaded. So we have a couple of ads here, another one there. So plus phonedog.com is a pretty intense website with a lot of content in general. But you can see that pinch to zoom is pretty smooth with that 1 GHz processor. A little lag there, but that's to be expected. But anyway, so if we zoom in and we'll take a look at this article, select it. Having that interesting aspect ratio and the display at this size, it really does improve the overall experience. So here's an example of a video being played. You can see I have it to play in widescreen, but you can also set it to play in full screen if you'd like to. The only complaint I have is that video playback isn't smooth all the time. This is a video that's downloaded to the device. It's not streaming, but still the playback is kind of choppy. You may not be able to notice it, through watching it on video, but just, seeing it in person, video playback is kind of choppy, so I was kind of disappointed there, but just, as an example of watching videos on the display, it looks great. Also, sound quality is decent. You can see on the back here is the speaker. Sound quality is decent. I didn't really have any complaints. It's very loud, very clear. I could watch this without headphones and still, understand everything they were saying. So good speaker, good sound quality from the speakers as well.